Good morning, everyone. Happy Tuesday. Thanks for joining us. Welcome to Industry Live, where we just talk industry stuff every Tuesday. Typically, it's myself and that Kimberly hosting, but Kimberly is away on work, and so we have a very special guest today. Her name is Tammy Broadway with American Fire Systems. Say hi.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Yes. Well, you have been in the trenches in the trade show world, plenty. So I thought you would be a great resource to have on board. So let's see. This is a series that we've done. This is the final piece to this tips and tricks for trade shows. Part three. We should wrap this up today. But we are just, we're not the experts of the world, but we are out here to share our knowledge and help whoever we can help and, spread the love out there because sharing is caring. And that's part of the reason why we do this. So I'm going to jump into. Let's talk to Tammy real quick. So Tammy, how long have you been working trade show scenes?
I've been with American Fire for almost 3 years, but prior to that, I've done trade shows through other industries. So I guess at least 6 years or so.
Yes. Well,
And that's
okay, so that's a long
not
time.
that's not a it's a long time. Still regularly a newbie too. Learning new things at new trade shows. So always willing and open to new things regarding to different industries. So
Yes. So we've covered several things from the very beginning. We've covered, before, during, like we're covering after the trade show. I think right now is what we're going to land on this time. Some of the things that we're going to talk about, like, during the trade show and after the trade show. So a point that I always want to bring up is how we manage our leads at a trade show.
that's very important. Very,
Mhm.
very important.
Right. Most of the trade shows will typically have an option for you to rent a lead scanner. Um,
Do you do that?
I have in the past. I've gotten to be really picky about it now. If it's the big, bulky, old school lead scanner, I'm not interested. But I am very interested. I've seen some associations use some really good apps on your phone for scanning the badges, which I found way more helpful.
I agree. Me too. I am a little bit depending on what trade show or expo I'm at and what they have to offer is whether I purchase it or not.
hmm And then, as far as lead tracking, I'm just discovering, I don't know what kind of CRM you guys use at American Fire Systems, if any kind of
We
CRM.
have it. We have an in-house one that we use,
Mhm.
and then I have my own database and spreadsheet that I've created.
Okay, cool. So, well, for instance, like I use Zoho, which is a
Oh well, yeah, that's a good
CRM,
one.
and I'm constantly learning new things on Zoho. We've just discovered that it also has a credit card scanner, the app that you can download, and it will just scan credit cards and put them immediately into your CRM, which I think is
Oh,
probably,
that's awesome.
yeah, something that I'm going to play around with prior to trade shows
Hmm.
and definitely utilize because I think that will be probably the easiest way to get all the information into the CRM.
And I think as vendors and and suppliers out there on those trade show floors, you got business cards are nice, but most people don't want those anymore. And
hmm
so you even taught me a couple while back about some having your contact information on a QRC code or something digital that they can actually hit their phone and all your information is there for them. And that's what I've actually purchased. I got a little. It looks like a credit card,
hmm
and they just I tap it on their phone, and they can accept it, and it will have all my information along with my LinkedIn account, my Facebook, my Instagram. Work information too. So I think it's a great resource, to be honest with you. And it's instant. They don't have to input anything, and they have it all the time.
Yes, I love that. That's been really helpful. And they make it to where you can buy keychains, bracelets, little credit card
Hmm.
size things. They even have giant, like Popple, specifically Popple. That's what I use. They have a giant one that you can get branded with your company logo.
Yeah,
So
mine's just a little credit card. It's really kind
mhm,
of a neat little thing.
yeah, they've come out with a lot of really cool stuff. So depending on the association and what resources they provide, there are definitely a lot of options out there. Not that you necessarily have to rent, what's available on site, but there's definitely some good tools out there. And there's a lot of business card scanners in general out there on
Oh,
the market right now. So I couldn't begin to tell you, which one is the best because I haven't looked, but it's there.
it is there, and I think a little bit of research, and you could find the one that's perfect for you.
hmm And then, we always have the fishbowl, for the drawing.
Yes,
So,
yes,
and
that
that's
is very.
hmm
That's a really good one to have. I always try to have some kind of giveaway or something for them to personally register. That way, I can reach out to them and say, thanks for coming by, thanks for registering, but just a good way to get
hmm
that information without just cold calling somebody.
Right, right, right. And that I think the biggest dilemma for sales folks is when they leave a trade show like that and they have a stack of business cards.
Hmm.
It's like, what do you do with all that?
It can be overwhelming sometimes, but I always tell everybody, you need to follow up. You
hmm
need to have that personal connection or find something to relate to them because they came to your booth and they stopped by and they gave you a business card. So it's our responsibility to reach out and see. Maybe they don't need you right then, maybe later on, but at least they'll have their information.
hmm Something that I want to utilize this trade show season is an on-site scheduling tool.
Ooh,
So I think I'm going to start with Calendly,
okay.
and then I'm going to have slots scheduled on my calendar that are linked with my Calendly, so that when people are in my booth and they do want to hear information, I can just very easily have them slide into a spot on my calendar for a demo, after the trade show.
That's actually a good thing. I didn't think about that. I'm going to write that down.
Yeah, I think I'm going to do that. That way it's on the schedule before you even leave the trade show. Like, it's already booked and it's already there and everyone's on the same page, because everyone that has come through that trade show floor is getting bombarded with emails after a trade show.
And unless you make a first impression with them, they're not going to remember who you are.
Right.
So if it's on their calendar, then it's a great way to email them back in regards to, hey, just want to follow up. We have it scheduled for you to meet with me in regards to. So I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, I think that's what we'll do this year, to see if that, see the impact on that and what that looks like for us. I think it'll be fun.
That will be fun.
Hi, Kimberly.
Hi, Kimberly.
Watching. She's in California, living her best life at the Social Media Summit, which I believe is in Napa. So I'm a little bit jealous of that.
Oh, fun.
Yes, I'm super, super jealous. Let's see. Up next, I know we were going to talk about, we dove into a little bit of the follow-up afterwards. What is your rule of thumb for follow-up afterwards? Do you follow up immediately or do you give it a little time? Because I usually like to give it a little time for those emails to kind of slow down.
I do both. So people that are really interested or say, hey, I really need your services like immediately.
Definitely.
I have a special little note system that I do for them, and I follow up immediately with them. The other ones that they've stopped by the booth and they would love our information or just whatever. I give it a week or so. Sometimes even two, because you're right. They get bombarded in the end of the day with so many emails or phone calls that I don't want to be that person that they just go junk, 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 junk.
Right. No, I think we all leave the trade show. We have our small stack of business cards that are like the true conversations that we had. And then we've got everything that went into the drawing that we've got to weed through.
And if you're not doing it, I think you should. I mean, I know we are, but newbies to the industry, if there's something fairly new to your doing that you do need to do, you need to have some kind of way that you can track who is your hot leads and who are just some ones you really want to follow up with later on.
Right. No, I completely agree. So yeah, I want to try to. One of my goals for this trade show season is to really track the start to finish. So, because I really want to track our sales cycle.
And that's important. You want to know if it's beneficial for you to come back to that trade show next year too, because these things they're costly. So, in regards to your budget for marketing and stuff like that, is it worth your benefit for that to do that trade show next year if it's not getting anything but just a cold card lead?
Right. Because I know I have to prove the ROI.
Right. Well, most of us have to for industry, or at least for our offices. So for me, I'm lucky enough that I do a lot of marketing too for American Fire System with our customers. So my budget's a little different than a true salesperson that might be just doing the expos on a different budget.
Right, right. And that's, I think a lot of people don't understand how much that varies out there between company to company. I know we all go and we see the big giant shows and they have all the giveaways and all the things. And that's just, it's so incredibly expensive. Don't forget about us,
Right.
guys
And
there that worked on a budget to be there.
and I do. I'm still a very budget conscious with regards to that, but I think you do what works for you, and you need to find what works for you. And sometimes it's trial and error, whether it's how you present something, or the giveaways, or what your booth looks like. Maybe you spend a little bit more on how you decorate your booth so it gets the attention over, or maybe it's the way you dress. Maybe it's your fashion statement that they're like, oh wow, it's just what I say, be you and do what works for you, because everybody's different and you really want to be able to stand out in regards to your competition.
I love it when I see teams that are looking sharp together.
I agree.
In their matching clothes. As long, I don't like a uniform as much as the next person, but you don't have to make it a standard uniform. If you were to put me back in a polo t-shirt and from my leasing days, I would be really upset.
Right. I agree. And I like the fact, we do have some industry friends that might wear a certain color, and that's her color all the time, lime green. And, yeah, I love Tracy. And when you see her a mile away, that's her thing. And people remember her by her lime green.
Yeah, she's brilliant for that. I love that.
Yes, I do. Great marketing strategy.
Very, very much great marketing. She's done a really good job with that. So as far as after show messaging, like, have you thought outside the box on that? Like, what kind of messaging are you putting out there after a show?
A couple things. We're going to really amp up our social media account in regards to, thanking people for coming by our booth, but just also letting people know that we're there. We haven't done a whole lot of that in the past, so we're going to do that this time. But I like my messages to be short. I don't like a long, drawn-on thing, because that gives me opportunity to talk to them about something else. So I do it something catchy. I write notes on my business cards people give me in regards to, I try to have a little something so mine is not a standard for each person. Mine's actually personalized to them. Hey, you know what? It was love chatting with you. Thank you. Your regards to me, it's little things like, hey, I loved your scarf you were wearing. It was hot pink and black. And, I hope you're having a great day. Love to talk to you again more about American Fire Systems. That works for me. I'm not a standard email person. And that's just, to me, I get more response to them because that's personalized to them. It's like they notice that I paid attention to them, or, hey, I remember you saying something about your son off to high school and going to college. It's those conversations that you're having with people. And sometimes you don't have time to do all those notes, but try mentally, to me, I try to make a little bit of comments regards to that person, especially if it's somebody I've been really seeking after or wanting to talk to.
Yes, I agree with that. Personalization is so important. Kimberly just asked a fun question. What is the most outrageous outfit you have worn to a trade show? And I bet you Tammy's going to win this because you love costumes.
I do love costumes, and I love theme trade shows. I mean, we do a lot of red, white, and blue in our booth, but if it comes to any kind of trade show theme, I try to go along with that theme and even bring out a costume. I don't remember the craziest thing I've done. I've done so much. I've been anywhere from a clown to a cowgirl to everything. We're actually just rented a mascot costume.
Oh.
Well, actually, we purchased a mascot.
What is the mascot, or is it a secret?
You'll have to. It will do a debut at TAA. Hopefully, if it gets here in time.
I think the craziest that I've ever dressed up was when I did a tent with you, and you made me dress up like a monkey.
Oh, that was fun! But people remembered us under the big top.
My favorite trade show setup was back in the day. Lease Hawk we had a rock climbing wall in our booth
Fun.
at NAA, and we all wore athletic gear, matching athletic gear. And
Oh.
so it was the most comfortable trade show that I had ever done because I got to wear tennis shoes and workout clothes, and it was awesome. That was my favorite.
Well, I am copying the idea from Tracy, and I made some blingy tennis shoes that are Americanized with our American Fire Systems, and I'll be debuting next week at the Dallas trade show. So excited about that, but nothing crazy yet. But TAA will have a mascot costume. So
I cannot wait to see that. Cool. I can't imagine what it would be. Like I think about American Fire Systems, and I'm like, what could your mascot be? Oh my gosh. Okay.
everybody have to come by and see me.
Yep. So as far as your trade shows on the floor, your setup, what's most important to you? Because one of the things that I harp on is not blocking your booth off.
I agree. I like to keep my booth a little open so people are welcome to come in, but we, color pops. So to me, we use that accent of red because we don't just put a table up and a backdrop and be done and put the table in the front because to me that's uninviting. I want people to come in and talk to us. So, and we normally do a standard 10 by 10. So I try to leave it as open as possible, putting a table maybe to the side for all of our, tchotchkes and things like that. So I like that open welcome part of it than sitting behind a table.
Bring them into your booth and have a conversation with them as opposed to standing over a table. I just feel like that table, it's like a wall between you and the potential client, and it doesn't feel very friendly.
No, and I think sometimes they don't even stay around, to be honest with you, regards to that. But that's just me. I love to give hugs and handshakes and things like that. So having that openness of people coming in and actually enjoying the booth regards to just staying and going, okay, thank you.
Right. And as far as your giveaways, like promo items, what have been your hit and misses? Because sometimes that's trial and error too.
It is a trial and error, and believe it or not. So last year we did these stress balls that were made out of fire extinguishers. They were a hit. People loved them. And honestly, I thought they were not going to be very well received because, stress balls are kind of old school. They've been around for a while. But they were fire extinguishers, and everybody thought they were kind of cool. We did these little guys that were like phone stands. Mm-hmm. They were white. Well, they started turning yellow. So to me, I had to trash them all. So that was not a good thing for us. But most things is I keep it simple. Regards to that, like I said, hand sanitizers the last couple of years have been a huge hit. I just ordered a bunch more. Pens, a good pen, and find a pen that stands out for you and your company. Right. I mean, to me, people throw it in your purse, throw it in your briefcase. People have pens, and that's a good thing. One thing that was a huge hit, we do career fairs too, was a phone charger, and it was one of the ones you lay your phone on your desk. So it's something that I want something that stays on people's desks for most part. They love that. They love notepads. Eventually the notepad goes away, but at least they had it for a while. To me, what didn't work out for us, which was surprising, which other vendors do, is the nail file kits. They weren't a big hit for us.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. Well, I mean, I like them, but
maybe it just depends on who's giving them away and how and where you're at in the location in regards to whether they're going to pick it up or not.
Right. Speaking of stress balls, the fact that was so successful makes me want to circle back to the stress balls that I found recently that are shaped like flasks.
Oh, ooh. You know what? This makes you stand out.
I know. I don't have to come up with something snazzy. Kimberly had a great idea for you. She said you should run a fun contest guessing the mascot on social
media. That's a great idea. I love that.
That would be fun. That would be a lot of fun. So as far as incentives in your booth, like your giveaway, like what are your boundaries on that? Because I typically try to keep it, I don't try to go over the top, but I try to because we are also a technology company, I'll try to do something techie and within a certain price range.
So we've been discussing this year regards to, because of we offer so many different kinds of services. So something we're also considering is maybe a discount on your inspection in regards to, most properties have to have a yearly inspections. Well, actually, they're required to, and giving that as a giveaway in regards to a nice discount on that. Some of the things we do, Amazon gift cards. We kind of avoid the purses. I know a lot of people, that's very big for them, but that's not us. I would rather give away a luncheon to your team than a purse for somebody. But Amazon gift cards, we do. We try to find something that techie too, regards to, like I said, we got those phone chargers that were actually, we upgraded and did a wooden one, and was really nice with our logo engraved. And those were a huge hit. But I try to do a basket of all of our promotional things along with a gift card in there. So it kind of gives them everything in at one time. But that, or a discount, like a couple $100 off of their inspection, because most properties, these inspections are expensive depending on how many units they have.
That's a really good idea. I like that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I know I stay away from the purses too. For me, I just feel like it's overdone. So
yeah, it's just not our thing.
Yeah, it's not my thing either. So I'm kind of like, nah.
Well, and there's also a lot of males in our industry now, and so I want to be biased to everybody.
Right. Also, too, I was just brainstorming with one of the sales reps that I work with in Florida for what his giveaway would be, and I asked him to check out what kind of events and concerts were happening in his area coming up, because you could always do like,
and that's another thing for TAA and HAA. Here locally for us, we have Astros tickets, and that's something we could do. Just leaving the rodeo.
Yeah,
so
experiences I think are memorable too, and people love
I agree. That's a great idea.
How many people do you typically have in your booth when you're showing?
Sometimes it's just me. I try to have at least one or two others, from depending on what office. With us being in 4 different offices all over Texas, I try to pull some team members from those offices to assist at least one shift of the day, regards to. So it's just not me, because it makes a long day.
Yeah,
if it's just you. So
yeah, I've done many trade shows solo, and it's exhausting.
It is exhausting. But I do highly recommend, if you have not, to purchase some kind of flooring and padding to stand on every day.
See, it doesn't bother me.
It doesn't bother you? Oh.
Mm-hmm. Unless I'm wearing heels, but I'm smart. I don't wear heels to trade shows, so.
Well, my costume sometimes requires me.
Your costumes. Yep. That's so fun. I think that being like engaging in your booth, like most importantly, we both have probably walked by booths where we've seen people just completely not engaging with, people.
And I know we're all busy and we all have sales going on and our emails are going like crazy, but really try to avoid being on your phone, because I've seen more people in booths just sitting there on their phone or their laptop and not really paying attention to what's going on around them. And I think that's going to be hurtful for you in the long run in regards to what potentially you could do at that trade show.
I think you have to have smiling faces. You have to engage. You have to not be afraid to look at someone that's walking by and just say, hey, can I talk to you for 5 seconds?
Right.
That's uncomfortable for a lot of people, but we're salespeople. We got to push ourselves outside of that comfort zone and
stepping out the box.
Get out of the box. Get out of the box. But yeah, I think this trade show season is going to be a lot of fun, and I'm really excited. You should really do a contest, and
I love that idea. I'm actually I'm going to try to put something together today, and
I'm inspired. We don't have a mascot, but I'm going to come up with something, because I think getting people social leading up to, and then maybe giving away the prize in the booth.
Yeah.
Yes. So don't be afraid to definitely market throughout all your social media platforms for your
That's something we're going to take more advantage of this year that we haven't done in the past.
Right. I'm definitely putting a lot more effort into that now that we've grown our team so much.
Well, now, how many people do you take to the trade show with you?
Well, typically for a local trade show, we do 2 people. just because
Okay.
I don't think it requires any more than that. And I don't like for anyone to have to do it by themselves. But for like NAA, I mean, I'm shooting to take the team if I can, because that's, I want to,
That's a big one, right?
it's a big one. It's very, very busy. It's the national show, and I want our team out there in full force.
I
So,
agree.
and then the same way, like in TAA, I think maybe we could, maybe 3 to 4, we might have it TAA, maybe. So,
And I think it's in shifts too, to be honest
mhm,
with you. You get too many people in a booth and then it gets intimidating too,
right,
especially if you're in a smaller booth.
right, right. I completely agree with that, because I've seen some overcrowding. But a lot of the trade, well, it's interesting, as I organized many trade shows for this company in different
Mhm.
states. I've had to make my checklist that Kimberly and I have on our link on our
And
message.
that is I love that checklist.
Mhm.
If you don't,
And because I mean, the little bitty things are so different between all of
mhm,
them, versus whether if you're a 10 by 10, you have some associations that are 2 max, you pay for extra. You have some that are like,
right.
oh, you can have 6, or you just it's kind of all over the place. So that was the wisdom behind my checklist, because I was just having a hard time keeping up with all of the very, very different scenarios in every
Mhm.
market that I was working with. Um,
And
let's
it can be overwhelming, especially going through all the requirements for each one.
Right, right, and just finding out, like, you've got different vendors for each trade show that you have to work with. So if you're going to get electricity and carpet, if you're
Right.
gonna get refreshments, you have all of these companies that you're having to communicate with at every show. So it's not like you're just signing up and working with a person at an association for a show. It turns into, like, many, many things, many different chores. You can also, real quick, if you want to be a guest and talk about things or be in our newsletter, you can go to this
Yeah.
link right here and check us out. You can also, there will be some links there for our checklist and a few of the other things that we've posted for everyone. Um, any last minute tips, comments?
I just say be yourself.
Mhm.
Whether
Be
you have a small
fun.
budget and be fine, whether you have a small budget or a big or a larger budget, um, do what you can. What makes your company stand out, and you can do a lot with a little budget.
I definitely, because I've worked in startups several times, and I always have started with little budgets, and so
And
I'm
sometimes those little things are actually go over better than the bigger
well,
things.
and also too, I mean, I had this conversation with someone yesterday. I think people get hyper focused on all the swag and the tchotchkes, and I
Mhm.
literally said, that you can still go get business at a trade show without giving away free stuff.
You can.
You
You just
can.
gotta be able to talk. You gotta be able to stand out there and talk and be personable to
Mhm.
people.
Yes, I'm like, it's not always about what you have to give away for free.
Right.
So don't let the tchotchkes and the swag be your crutch.
Oh, you know what was popular last year that I just reordered, but it won't be here in time is hot sauce. American Fire, and we did this cute little label, and it was, put the fire out on the
Oh,
hot
I love
sauce.
that.
Yeah, so that was our big thing last year that went over really well.
I love that. I love that. Yeah. Well, and then at the end of the day, have fun. If you're not having fun,
That's right. It's
ev-
really just,
it will show. If you're not having fun, it will show.
and we all have bad days, but these expos, it really is. I live for them. They're so much
Mhm.
fun at the end of the day, and you meet so many people and those contacts. And whether you see them next year or over the phone during the year, it makes a difference. It really does.
Yep, it totally does. Well, it looks like we are almost out of time, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap up. Thank you, everyone who
Yeah.
hopped on, commented, hearted, all the things. We're so appreciative of this. And if you want to be on and you have things to talk about and you have some insight and input, you can email us at beonindustrylive@gmail. Make sure that if you are going to rewatch this, if you'll hashtag replay, throw in a few hashtags for us, like that Kimberly, hashtag Deb DeRuin, hashtag Industry Live. We would very much appreciate that. And then lastly, But most importantly, thank you, Tammy Broadway, with American Fire Systems, for jumping on and joining in on this conversation. And I put her email on the screen.
Well,
So
thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
yes, absolutely. And I can't wait to see what your mascot is.
Oh, yep. I'm excited.
I'm excited. Now it's game on. I'm ready.
So hopefully shipping won't cause any delays.
All right. You better not, because I'm like super excited. I'll be sad. So, all right. Well, thank you again. Thank you for joining, everyone.